thought by doing this, this would help them in a certain way. And what is happening right now is that it is all starting to fall apart. And the truth of what this pandemic really is, it's coming out now. American frontline doctors, they went to Washington and they spoke about what is really going on. And there's no reason for a lockdown. There's no reason for everything that we're seeing. Now, if that is the case, which we do believe it is, it means the economy is going to take off, which means that businesses, they would be able to fully open. It means that people don't have to wear masks. It means that we're going to see the economy bounce back. And I do believe we're going to see this. Actually, we're already seeing the economy do fantastic just from what's open now. And that's just a couple of businesses at either a quarter or half capacity. Once all this is pushed to the side, the economy is going to skyrocket like we've never seen before. And we've already started to see it. Look what's happening in real estate. During the pandemic, what did Trump get? He got the Fed to lower rates, exactly what he wanted from the beginning, which helped the housing market, which helped the automobile industry, which helped people with college. What else did he get? Well, since people are now purchasing homes and home prices haven't fallen and the market's going up, people feel good. They feel like everything is going their way. Yes, there are still those individuals that still can't have their businesses open. Certain people still can't go back to work. They're receiving stimulus or they're getting forgivable loans right now just to hold them over until all of this subsides. But what we're seeing is that the economy is ready to break out. And the economy is rebounding. The stock market's going up. Gold is going up. NASDAQ is going up. And we're seeing a lot of indicators. Look at retail sales. Look at durable good orders. Durable good orders shot up another 7.3% in June. They're following May's incredible number, a 15.1% surge. Can you imagine if everything just opened up, what these numbers would be like? They'd be absolutely incredible. Why are the numbers shooting up? Why are we seeing these small V recoveries in all these different sectors? It's because the economy was shut down artificially. This is not a real recession depression. This is not a crash that was just created and people lost everything because of a crash and we're trying to get everything back to the way it was. All we did was shut everything down. We just shut down every single business. And we said, listen, nobody can go to work. Nobody can have their businesses open. We need to take a time out. So when you start to open all of it and people can go to these businesses and people can go back to work, what happens? Everything is just rebooted. Yes, that small gap, you're going to lose that period of time. And this is where the stimulus comes in. This is where the forgivable loans come in to tide people over this period of time. But now we're completely out of that. And now people are seeing the truth. Trump, during this time, like we mentioned before, what has he done? He's been prepping the economy. He is prepping the economy to go to the next stage. This is not about making the central bank economy fantastic. It's not about continuing it. It's about using it for what we need it for. Now, remember, when he came into office, what did he do? He used the central bank. He had them lower rates. Meanwhile, he was renegotiating trade deals, placing tariffs on certain countries to bring in billions of dollars, which he then offloaded onto the farmers to help them out. During the pandemic and after the pandemic, what did he do? He visited certain states, different businesses, and said, how can we help? USMCA came online during the summer months. Jobs are coming back. Tesla's opening up a plant in Texas, a huge plant in Texas. And he still has the Defense Production Act. We're still in a national emergency. He still has the ability to do a lot more. Remember, deregulation, tax holiday, a lot more of that is coming. And as he continues to do this, it's not for the short term, It's for the long term. This is why he's doing it. Let's talk about investing. You know, Noble Gold told me this July 4th was special. Gold is up around 16% this year, and the Dow has lost around 10%. And if you start a gold or silver IRA this July, you will get one of these 5-ounce America the Beautiful silver bullion coins with every qualifying IRA. To qualify, you must mention my name, X22 Report, and make sure you start the IRA in the month of July. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 or click the link below. What the mainstream media is looking at, what these financial pundits are looking at, they're looking at the short term. Oh, the tax cuts, they're not going to help right now. Oh, deregulation, it's not going to help right now. He knows this. That's why he's pushing the stimulus. This is why they're giving the forgivable loans. This is why he's helping the businesses in the short run. But he also understands that we need this for the long run. What does he need this for? He needs it for the transition. And that is exactly what is happening. So when we look at what has been happening in the gold market, in the silver market, what do we see? We see gold continually rising. Now, does this mean it's not going to come back down? It might. There might be individuals that try to stop this, namely the central bank. They might try to do something to stop this. But right now, it's on an upward trajectory. What does this tell us? It tells us that the value of the dollar has lost value over time. We're in a readjustment period to wake the people up right now, because you just can't transition into something else. Now, if we go back in time, the central bankers, what they did during this period of time is they started to create currency. They had the petrodollar all set to go. They created currency. We were in war, and they started to do this to get people used to it. And this is why we started to see inflation. So people started to see inflation. Countries started to look at their gold reserves here in the U.S., and they said, we want it back. They set up the perfect plan to transition us from a gold standard to a fiat system, because they started to get the people used to inflation, because they knew once they took the entire fiat system off the gold standard, we were going to see an incredible amount of inflation. By creating the currency, it set up the entire framework for countries to ask for their gold back, which set up the idea that there are gold speculators. And then once this happened, they could explain away why we saw high unemployment, why we saw inflation, why we saw what we did during this period of time, lines in front of gas stations and things like that, because we're moving from a gold standard onto the petrodollar system. And people, they didn't realize what exactly was going on at the beginning, because when you move off the gold standard and you move onto a full fiat system, it's a little confusing in the beginning, because all you see is, hey, my salary went up. I was making $5,000 a year, and now I'm making $10,000 a year. Hey, my house price went up, and it was $5,000, and now, it's worth $15,000. This is amazing. But what's really happening at this point is they're creating so much currency, the value of the dollar is decreasing. So you need more of these dollars to pay for the same exact thing. You need to earn more of those dollars just to make up the difference. But people saw it in a different way. They thought, oh, look, I'm making more now. Oh, look, my house is worth more. And then it started to spread throughout the country. So people thought in their minds, this is fantastic. Look, I'm getting really high interest rate. And I'm getting this on my CDs. This is incredible. But it's an illusion in the beginning stages. And then after the frenzy of all this, everything starts to fall apart. And this is why they had to start introducing credit cards to people to make it work in the household. Then you need to extend the finance terms. You need to then go to leasing. You need to extend the loan terms on mortgages and whatnot. They needed to do this because everything started to fall apart, and they needed a way to tell everyone it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Now we can introduce credit. And that started putting everyone into debt. A lot more debt than anyone was ever used to. And what happens over this period of time is their system starts to break down. I'm talking about the central bank system. And here we are at the end of their system. It is breaking down. Trump and the Patriots, they know this. They know we're at the end of the system. This is why they're preparing the transition. This is why now you see gold moving up. I do believe gold has to move up quite a bit. And as gold is continually moving up, people are going to question this. Why is gold moving up? Why is it worth a lot more now? Why is the dollar dropping? This is in preparation. This is a rebalancing of the system. Because how do you transition with gold at 1100, at 1200? Why do you think the central banks around the world were accumulating gold? And it doesn't mean it's a private Western central bank. A lot of times it's the country's central bank. Why were they continually taking on more and more gold? Why was Russia? Why was China? Why was India? There's a reason for it, because they knew that eventually what was going to happen is we were going to transition into a new system. Now, of course, they were going to cover this up with war and other things. They don't have that protection anymore. They don't have that cover story anymore. So now it's happening out in the open. And the only way to wake people up, to let people know what's really going on, is to actually show them. For them to question what is going on. Now, some people, they won't even realize it. Other people are going to question it, just like back in the 70s. Back then, people didn't realize what was going on. We had no idea we were coming off a gold standard going onto a petrodollar system, that there was never speculators in the market, that the central bank, they didn't want to give the gold back to these countries, and they wanted to move us to a complete fiat system, which started to destroy the economy from that point on. A lot of people didn't realize that. They just believed whatever the mainstream media was telling them. Today, we have social media. We have other people talking about this. We understand what the central bank is. Remember, this is the third central bank in the country. The other two were removed. One, the charter ran out. That was the first one. The second one, Andrew Jackson got rid of it because he knew how damaging it was. And here we have Trump, who's now come into the picture, who's going to get rid of the third central bank. Now, of course, this central bank hunkered down for many, many years, spread its web all across the world. We have IMF, we have the Biz, we have the Rothschild, we have central banks, private central banks in a lot of the countries. But this is the beginning stage. Remember, Q has told us that gold is going to destroy the Fed. It's actually not just going to destroy the Fed, it's going to destroy the private Western central bank system. Because once the people wake up and they start to realize that the dollar now is losing value very, very rapidly and gold is moving up, people are going to question this. People every day are going to say, why is this happening? And this is just the beginning stages. This is a rebalancing of everything, preparing for the transition. And we still have a ways to go. Remember, Judy Shelton's coming on board. The Fed's going to be restructured. It has already been brought into the Treasury. Everything is being put into place right now.